Hi, I'm Pastor David with Declaration Church. And over the last few weeks and months, we as a nation have been facing some very difficult times. We've been asked to do some things that we aren't used to doing. I mean, this is a nation that is known as at least the way that we call ourselves anyway, but we are typically known as the home of the free. We go and we're independent and we do our thing and we go and we live our lives. We make our choices. We love that individualistic nature, and it leads a little bit towards some negative things at times, but it has a lot of benefits as well. And it has really been difficult for us as a nation to just lock ourselves down and stop going to restaurants, stop going to the salon, stop going out and shopping and doing whatever we want, stop going to the park, stop playing our communal sports like basketball and baseball, hockey. All those things have shut down. It's very difficult for us as a nation to face these kinds of things. And we've gotten antsy and we've had a hard time. And we look at the numbers, and the infection rates continue to rise nationally. We continue to see death rates rise. And so people are hurting. People are struggling. They're locked up in their houses. They're closing themselves off. Some of us are going out and we're challenging those restrictions. Some of us are very angry, and we're really having a hard time in this particular point in our world's history, in our nation's history. We're really struggling with this idea of the shelter in place and all of those kinds of things. I know that I'm having a hard time with it at times. My family's having a hard time with it. My wife's a school teacher, so she's been home for weeks. My kids are all home with their schools closed, and things have been really hard. And I'm sure that you're facing some difficulties relating to this as well. And as I was reading through Scripture, and if you're a Christian today, this is really going to apply to you in a very strong way. But I was reading through Scripture and I came across this particular verse. It's in Lamentations, which is an interesting place to find a verse like this, because Lamentations is really grieving, it's weeping, it's crying, it's really the reaction to bad things happening. And this is a book that was written by the prophet Jeremiah right after Jerusalem has been conquered by the Babylonians. The city has fallen, he's being exiled, all of these things. The people have been removed from their land. Everything that they had, the temple is gone, their homes are gone. The city is gone. Their hope seems to be fading. Everything seems to be going as bad as it can possibly go. A lot of people have died during the siege. Babylonian soldiers have killed a lot of people. King Nebuchadnezzar has taken over, and it seems like things couldn't get much worse. And with all of that in mind, Jeremiah writes these words in Lamentations chapter 3, verse 21 and 22. But this I call to mind, and therefore I have hope. So even in the midst of all this darkness, even in the midst of all this difficulty, even in the midst of all of this trial and struggle and pain and possibly even depression, he says, I have hope. I have hope. The steadfast love of the Lord never ceases. His mercies never come to an end. They are new every morning. Great is your faithfulness. So even in the midst of the darkest time of his life, which honestly, he's known as the weeping prophet, his life was probably not full of joy and happiness. But even in the midst of this very dark time, he looks and he sees that glimmer of hope, that light in the distance. And it lifts his spirits so that he can continue to move on, move forward, trusting in God, knowing that God is still God. He's still on the throne. He's still living and active and moving, and he still loves his people, just like he did before the city fell, before the Babylonians took over, before they lost their homes, before they were exiled, before the ones that were left in Jerusalem decided to run to Egypt and hide there, where eventually Nebuchadnezzar conquers again and takes them anyway. There's hope. So maybe you're looking around yourself right now and you're struggling and you're looking around and you're not seeing any hope, and you're just having a hard time. I want to encourage you right now, even in the darkest times in our lives, there is always a light of hope when we trust in the Lord, when we trust in God. When we place our hope in Yahweh through Jesus, we have hope. There is still a glimmer of hope that things will get better, that we can get through this, that God will push and carry us through this difficult time, and that through this time, we'll draw closer to Him. And our relationship will be strengthened, and we'll come out of this with blessings and benefits that we wouldn't have had otherwise. That's the hope. Romans 8:28 says that all things work together for the good of those who love God and are called according to His purpose. If you're following Jesus today, that is you. So you have hope. And I hope that you can just hold on to that. I hope you'll grasp onto that and hold on to it with all that you've got as you continue to push through this time. Restrictions may lessen. They may have to tighten down again. We don't know what's going to happen. Things are fluid. This situation is difficult to navigate. But if we hold on to Jesus, if we hold on to God, that constant, that unfailing, never-ending love, the mercies that are new every morning will carry us through. I hope this encouraged you today. If it did, give the video a thumbs up and share it with people that you know are struggling. Share it with your friends on Facebook, on Instagram. Share this video with everyone that you know needs an encouraging word today. And live in hope as you walk today in your relationship with Jesus. As always, I'm Pastor David, and I'm out.